Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another Keanu Reeves movie spoiler review. And today we'll be talking about the 1994 movie Speed. I haven't seen this since I was a kid. I watched it a couple of times, when I was a kid. It was already on cable uh, when I was like, a cognizant kid. Uh, I was born in 1988, so, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. Like 6 or 7 ish. I was 8 years old, 6 or 7 years old when I watched Speed on cable. And I freaking, enjoyed the movie. Because it's around the time when like VHS was a thing and I, watched it on tape, a bunch of times. I remember enjoying the hell out of it. And for the longest time, I always thought this movie was like Sandra Bullock's first big, breakout role. But excuse me, she's been in at least 5, 6 other things prior to this. Because Demolition Man came out in 1993, and I always thought it came out after Speed. And it's like, the kind of 90s action movies kind of blend together because it's all in that clump. But man, this movie still holds up, and I just want to state this, immediately. The score to this is, phenomenal. It is, it really accentuates, the mood of the film. It's like, it's like the edge of your seat kind of mood. It's like dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. It's like that. It's like it really kind of gets you hyped, and it's like it kind of scored. It kind of makes you glued to the screen, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot how awesome this freaking movie is. This is a fantastic movie. It was directed by what was the director's name? John DeBont, who also did uh, Equilibrium, starring Christian Bale. Uh, so I'm like, he does some stuff. He doesn't have like a wide catalog, but you might spot some stuff here and there that you didn't realize he had directed. But yeah, as movies based in LA. It stars Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, of course. Also, Dennis Hopper as probably like and I because there's been many movies since 1994, but for a while he was considered like one of the best movie villains for quite a while. I'm pretty sure he got bumped off the list, but like Dennis Hopper's Howard Payne as this mad bomber extortionist. For a while, he was considered like a terrifying villain because you never know what he was gonna do. And of course, he had like a thing where like his left thumb was blown off because he was a former Atlanta police uh, uh, officer, for, part of the bomb squad there, and he just went mad and everything like that. So he got his thing where he it kind of reminds me of like the one of the bad guys from Con Air who answers the phone in a very odd way. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering it correctly. Another great action movie where he's like holding the phone like this all the time, and it's like couldn't do this. He chose to do it like this. And to this day, always, a lot of people consider that is just a bizarre thing. Uh, I honestly believe that is a Dennis Hopper choice, because I'm assuming I can't. Don't quote me on this, but something like that is a clear thing that kind of feels obvious. That's an actor's decision, and the director was like, "Oh yeah, run with that," because making a villain memorable is having some kind of gimmick. Like Heath Ledger's Joker had like at least a couple of things that always stuck out in my mind, with the smacking the lips, and like, before he makes a kill, he always, like, you want to know how I got these scars. He always asks that kind of question before, and it's always like a different tale every day, or every time someone sees this guy. That was his thing before he kills you. So I imagine that was kind of to that same effect. It's like making him very distinct. Then you got Jeff Daniels playing Detective Harry Temple, another character whose name is Harry. But because I loved him in Dumb and Dumber. It's like that's the first Jeff Daniels movie I ever seen. Well, it's a dual role with Jim Carrey, but the first time I seen Jeff Daniels in anything was in Dumb and Dumber, honestly. And yeah, Dumb and Dumber came out in the same year as Speed, so that was like a big deal for Jeff Daniels. So the Speed came out in June 1994. This one Dumb and Dumber came out in December of that year. So like that was a huge deal for like, I mean, he's done tons of stuff prior to that and long after that, but that was like, that shocked me. But anyway, Keanu Reeves plays Jack Traven, partnered with Harry Temple as LAPD SWAT officers. And mind you, I noticed this immediately. When I watch, because I do watch alongs of Deadliest Warrior for quite a since like last year, and I got at least probably a couple more months before it's officially over. But in season 2, the first episode in not the first, second official episode of season 2, because they did like a Back for Blood tournament style first episode of season 2. But the second episode is like a SWAT versus GSG 9 episode. And from watching that episode, the gear that they had on, this is LAPD SWAT as well. The gear they had on was, when I, watched this movie, I was like, oh my God, that is the spot on gear. It's like, I'm pretty sure some minor things have changed since 1994 up until the broadcast of that episode, but it's still close enough. It's like, oh my God, that is spot on SWAT team gear. And it was like, it kind of blew my mind. Oh, just a quick plug in. If you like my video so far, like either my video game walkthroughs or my movie reviews or my comic book reviews or my TV show reviews, or my just discussion videos like the one I did recently about Moon Knight trailer, Joss Whedon, and Microsoft's acquisition of Activision, please follow me in the links in the description if you want to further support the channel. But anyway, Harry and Jack, and this is probably, it's been some stuff Keanu Reeves been in that didn't have a character named John or Johnny, but obviously in his early work, there's like, that wasn't a thing with him yet. So Jack and Harry, and other SWAT members stormed this building that's having this elevator, a group of people in this elevator that's trapped by this mad bomber who's threatened to blow it up if he doesn't get $3 million. And this is like Die Hard with on a bus. It's always been known as Die Hard on a bus. You'll know why in a minute. Or if you've seen Speed before, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't seen Speed, or you too young to remember the film or whatever, I highly encourage you to do yourself a favor and check out the movie Speed. It's on HBO Max. If you have HBO Max app, that's where I watched it. Check it out. It's a whole lot of fun. You'll get a kick out of it. And you get the sense of things that were prevalent in the 90s, like payphones, and you get to see early Keanu Reeves and early Sandra Bullock and realize how awesome they have always been, and give them and of course Jeff Daniels, give them the flowers that they deserve because they are awesome actors. But they storm the building, very tactically. Some taking different routes and stuff like that, and they end up saving the people in the elevator. But then as they about to corner Payne, he got Harry hostage, with like a suicide bomb vest on. So, which is what happens next. Obviously, it kind of can't be like the proper procedure as an officer, but Jack, just to get Payne to release his grip on Harry, shoots Harry in the leg to briefly get him to let go, and then he ends up running away. And then as Jack tries to pursue them, the door that closes then blows up and knocks him on his butt. And everybody assumes that, okay, the Mad Bomber just blew himself up. And did you check for a freaking body though? That part was wild to me. Obviously, I didn't think of it at that time as a kid, but it's looking back on it, it's because it's been a lot of movies over time, and I've seen a hell of a lot of action films, and with other critics and other people who review movies and stuff like that, they point out certain things, and over the years you get okay, when you look at certain things, you can, there's suspending your disbelief, and then having some time to have a movie marinate, and then you start to okay, it didn't really make sense for officers to not check for a body. It'll be a different story if they okay, we looked at it and it's we found some kind of burnt corpse, so it has to be him. Could at least throw in that, but it's they didn't find a body, so they assumed he was dead, and that part obviously wouldn't play out realistically. But they get their Medal of Honor for thwarting a tragedy, and of course the Mad Bomber's still alive. He's peeved that he didn't get his money, so he set us a plan. So sometime later after the celebration, Jack try to get some coffee the next morning, and talks with his, I guess, local bus driver that he that goes to the same coffee shop as him. Don't even think he was getting off duty or he's about to start his duty. He stops to get his coffee, and then as soon as he enters his bus, it blows up in front of Jack. He answers the payphone that's near him, and Mad Bomber tells him there's a bus number 2525 that I have rigged to explode too if its speed reaches below 50 miles per hour. I want, this time it's 3.7 $3.7 million by 11 a.m. because at this point in the movie it's 8 a.m. And if anybody gets off the bus, he blows it up. If he doesn't get his money by 11 a.m., he blows the bus. So it's he got all these stipulations, and he tells him I'm watching you, Jack. He doesn't tell him how he's watching him, but Jack takes off in his car and down the freeway, chases after the bus. By the way, just a side note, because early you see Annie, running after the bus and trying to catch it, and as this is before the bus reaches the 50-mile power speed, because by that point, as soon as he does that, the bomb is active and he has to maintain or above the 50 marker speed. And so she gets on the bus and you see this like cadre of different people here, like a couple of old black people, Hispanic engineer, a black bus driver, some dorky looking dude who's visiting LA, who annoys Annie immediately with not like a slime ball like you see in like the first Die Hard movie that I reviewed, with that little 80s, like, hey, yeah, so it was like I'm the shit attitude or nothing like that. He's just annoying. He's like normal annoying, where it's like, okay, you keep talking, it's like, I don't care kind of attitude. I mean, like, that she has about him, like, I don't care. You keep just in my ear talking, I don't care. And so on. It's like, different, like, and a Southern woman, and again, a bunch of other folk. And as Jack makes his way onto the bus after he had to explain to everybody that, well, before he explains to everybody what's the deal is, some Hispanic young dude starts freaking out, pulls out a gun, thinking that Jack's there to arrest him. Like, bro, you think what the hell do you think you would have done that causes one single cop to hijack another vehicle and go out his way to try to stop a bus, and like, maybe there are cops that would do that, but better ways to try to stop a bus. They would have not come by themselves to doing all that. But this dude freaking out, put a gun to his face, and it'd be great if this was like it happened more so in real life. But Jack, tries put his gun to de-escalate the situation. Hell, even RoboCop does that. But anyway, he's trying to calm down the guy, tell him, like, I'm not after you. I don't care what you did, whatever you did. I'm pretty sure you're sorry. So, cause like, he got bigger things to worry about than whatever this kid who this punk party would have done. He would hijack somebody's car or something. I don't know. But it's like you're not the focus. Like, I really don't care. But then the engineer guy tackles the kid. The gun goes off, hits the bus driver, wounds him. So Annie has to take over the bus and try to drive it. Then after he subdues the kid, he had to explain to the people on the bus, like, there's a bomb on the bus. If it gets below 50 miles per hour, it blows up. If anybody leaves this bus, it blows up. Right now we gotta, I gotta figure this out to get, to keep y'all safe. So, meanwhile, while the other officers, either some like Harry are back at headquarters trying to figure out who this mad bomber is. The others, like the lieutenant and like some other officers, are, taking helicopters to, direct him onto a path of the road that's clear enough for him so he won't be bumping into traffic, so you don't get below, 50 miles per hour for any reason. And they, get them, just keep them maintained until they figure things out, so keep everybody alive. So it's like and like I said, the music keeps the suspense flowing. Like, very rare you get like a moment break. It's called speed, for goodness sake. But he, Jack convinces Payne on the phone, like, hey, we got a wounded bus driver here. We need to get him off to get him medical attention to show like a good faith. It's like, okay, just him, only him. But then the crazy Southern woman is freaking out. Like, understandably, she's freaking out because it's like, she's like in like a situation that is like obviously will be stressful for anybody, and like I can't tell anybody how to react. But it's like you got a cop there is telling like, hey, this guy's the only one gonna get off, and you clearly hear him talking on the phone with this psycho that like we gotta get this guy. He's bleeding. And this woman is not even caring. She's like, hey, I want to go off this bus. I don't want to be here. So while they got the driver off the bus safely, this woman, try to, get off on board. But then like the front portion of the steps to the doorway of the bus blows, kills her. And like, Annie and the other drivers are just freaking out now because, like, yeah, there's no BS. This is a real thing. And so they're driving, maintaining, and, meanwhile, like, Jack is trying to, like, look underneath the bus, trying to find, like, the bomb. While he's talking to Harry on the phone so he can get instructions on how to deal with it, or at least what it looks like, so that way they can figure out how to dismantle it. And like it's like a funny moment where it's like, Jack hands the I just call him the business guy because he's dressed in like very business clothes, whatever, blue business clothes, whatever. He hands like the phone to him, and to relay messages back and forth while he's trying to check underneath the bus. And like there's this moment Jack said, like, what did he say, like basically like oh shit, and and the guy is just like doesn't want to repeat that back. It's like, oh darn. that did crack me up. I forgot about that moment, and it just got me for some doggone reason. It's just like that was like a pretty funny moment. So once Harry got the information, he looks up like in the way to dismantle it, and Jack convinces the bomber like, hey, I'll get you your money, but I need to like talk to my people. You need to let me off the bus for a minute, just for a minute. So he allows to get off the bus as like he's hopping onto another rig. Even before we get to that point, there was a awesome moment where, and this was on MythBusters, but they, the other officers found out that the road that they managed to get on, which they thought on some kind of, I guess, an older map before it got up, before other stuff mentions about the upgraded details that a map he was holding, the lieutenant was holding, have him thinking like the road they're on is just a long stretch of road. Nobody's on it. It's just like I don't know. They found out it's not really finished. That's the issue. So it's like like a significant gap. They don't think a bus managed or any vehicle managed to get over. Especially at the top. At the speed that they're going currently. So Jack's idea was, okay, we're going to speed up to as top speed as possible, and like we'll hunker down, and we're going to just, because there's got to be some kind of like a ramp or whatever, because there's like an incline, and they managed to get over the thing, and it's like everybody's losing their mind because like I'm pretty sure back in the day in the theater people was cheering along with the people in the movie because it was like we did not think they was gonna. I'm pretty sure nobody thought it was. If we first see this, you didn't think anybody's gonna leap over and make that jump. But MythBusters, of course, if you've seen, I haven't seen MythBusters, but I've seen clips of people disproving that moment where it's like, even with some kind of incline, a bus like that going top speed wouldn't be able to make that, because they mentioned the how wide the gap is, and it's still, it's not like crazy wide, but still like a significant amount of wideness that wouldn't help, like wouldn't support the jump, and like even with like they include like some kind of like ramp or whatever, and like it'll take a lot for a bus to get over that jump, but trying to match up with having the movie as best as they can and try to see, okay, we'll put the ramp they had, like, the little incline that they had there. We start off with no incline, then a little incline, then increase the incline slightly, and it was like, yeah, it'll take a lot to actually make that jump. So realistically, they wouldn't have made that jump, but it's just movie magic kind of situation. So anyway, while they're talking about, like, trying to find this guy, Harry going through all these records about, okay, like, check about like police personnel, because the way like this guy is talking, clearly he's had some police training with the kind of language he's given, and they eventually figured out that he was not an LAPD officer, but an Atlanta officer, a former bomb squad, which you would think that'd be the first thing they look like, well, maybe not the first thing, but maybe the second thing they look for. And once they figure that out, Harry, who's still wounded, by the way, or at least, trying to recover because he got promoted to be a detective, so he's, man in the desk for a while. He still went in full SWAT gear. I'm like, why would you, if you got promoted to be a detective, you don't need to still be in like the SWAT stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure you still have, officers still have to wear like gear, but it's like, that field you gotta leave to the other guys now at this point. But anyway, he finds Payne's residence, and this is what trips me up here. But this is me with more knowledge in movies and worldly wisdom and stuff like that. That's over time. But it's still like in the 90s, maybe, because the thing is, they go in the house, they chip a wire, and it blew, killing Harry and the other SWAT members, which pissed off Jack considerably when he finds out. But that's the thing here that's tripping me. Maybe I can put it in this perspective. Maybe back in the day, the police have never had to deal with mad bombers like that before, but they have to deal with they clearly have like bomb removal experts and stuff like that. So they had to deal with bombs before and bombers. So I'm pretty sure, like, because I watched Law and Order SVU, like at least a couple of weeks ago, they had to deal with like someone with like who was hiding bombs in the house. They had to back away and have the bomb squad, diffuse the area to make sure it's safe. But it's like, you don't touch anything. Matter of fact, even when the times when they knew they are dealing with a bomber, they do not want to enter the residence of this person because they might feel it's booby trapped. And that's what tripped me out. Like, you don't, clearly you have dealing with like bombers before. Your first instinct isn't like what, like not check to see if there's no trip wires or anything like that. It just really like got to me at that moment. It's like, that's a stupid way for a person to die of that ranking and his title. Well, not just that the titles, but it's just like his experience. He should know better about like entering a residence. This is not like a drug dealer where you're entering a house. uh, or like a gang of thieves. You're entering a residence of somebody who's a well-known bomber at this point. So it's like, your first clue was to make sure that the house isn't rigged to blow, or just assume it is, and try different ways to enter it or check it or whatever tech they had at the time to do so. Because it clearly still had computers, it's early computers, but still would have done the job. So anyway, Jack eventually, once they detoured the bus onto the LAX, airport, on like the unused runway to keep it like circling, so it can like don't have to interfere with any traffic and it still maintain the 50-mile speed. But as Jack was going under the and this is way before he was going under the bus just to check with Harry's instructions about like how to what kind of bomb they're dealing with. And of course, in this you see certain hints, like this golden watch, which clearly representing, because this is a moment when like I come to realize, okay, he's a disgruntled police officer. And I guess like he went crazy because he didn't feel appreciated after, especially losing a thumb, and they give him like a gold watch for his services. I mean, he feels like kind of like cheated in a way, or it's like or at least feel like he didn't get the respect he deserved as someone who's not only wounded in the line of duty. But it's like the things he got was just like a stupid gold watch in his eyes. So he applied that gold watch to the mechanism, and they try to figure out like the significance of the watch, which leads them to eventually figure out that he's like a former police officer. So Jack realizing he cannot defuse the bomb, because some kind of mechanism or latch mechanism or something like that could cause it to go off. So he heads back on the bus, which he almost got crushed because like he's on this flatbed and everything like that, and like it got undone, but he jammed a screwdriver that he had onto like the fuel tank underneath the bus, causing it to leak. So now they're losing fuel in the meantime, and they only got like 10 minutes left before the fuel gauge just goes empty. So this eventually realize that they're being watched, because Payne inadvertently made like a reference to Annie's jacket that she had on. It has like or sweater or something like that she had on. I'm pretty sure it's a jacket that has like a college logo on it, like Wildcat. So she called her like a Wildcat. And he realized he's been monitoring them through some kind of secret camera, where like the big mirror that the buses have next to the bus driver on top. So they the other officers got it to play, found the signal and got it to play on a loop. So while so back at the apartment that he's Payne is holed up in, he's watching a continuous loop. Meanwhile, Jack is getting all these people off the bus. And I gotta say, a friend of mine, Anita Starr, who also has a YouTube channel, like best friends with, when I met up with her while I was visiting Vegas, she has like very kind of cool like vintage kind of outfits or whatever like that. But when I see like Sandra Bullock's whole attire in this film, I'm like, she is dressed exactly like Anita. Or Anita is dressing like Sandra Bullock. Obviously, I don't think she ever even seen this film. There's a lot of movies you haven't seen. She's seen a fair bit, but she's not like a huge movie buff like that. But it's like, next time I talk to her, I gotta let her know, like, I even like download some images from the film so I can send it to her. It's like, she's wearing like that kind of outfit like you. It's like really spot on. She even kind of sounds. This is like young Sandra Bullock too. She even sounds kind of like you when she talks. This is kind of freaky. But anyway, that's a little tangent. But it's just like it kind of got to me. Like she dressed like you. This is weird, very weird. But they managed to get off the bus. It explodes on the runway against this cargo plane, empty cargo plane. And so now they trying to trick Payne into, okay, we're going to deliver the money at the destination that you set, and trying to watch and make sure they catch him in the act with like these like dye thing, bags inside the bag full of money. And of course, he's in an apartment near the neighborhood that he's like set the destination for. And I mean, I'm not a SWAT member, but you think we have snipers and other people watching from buildings that do a better job at hiding, because they clear view. And it's like, if you're trying to make sure that you want to appear like it's like a normal like street, or at least we're actually delivering on on the deal, you don't want to tip them off, which they clearly doing. So he disguises himself as like a cop, and sees Annie standing outside of the ambulance truck, which I'm not sure why you don't get that ambulance truck to take her straight to the hospital, but she's standing there, and he takes her hostage, or at least after she got the bag for him, and Jack goes after them. He got her strapped to like a bomb vest, so he follows them onto a train that he's taking a hostage. But this time there's no people inside except for like the train conductor. But he eventually dies from like just like random shooting from Payne's part. Annie's handcuffed to the pole of the train, and while Jack is trying to climb on top of the train, Jack trying to get the bag full of money, and then ink splatters all his face, and he ruins the money. He's freaking out, going like a crazy rampage at this point, shooting on top of the train, and it's like somehow still keep missing Jack every time he's rolling over and missing all these bullets. He gets on top of the train. They fight. He gets decapitated by Payne gets decapitated by this like a railway signal thing. It's kind of like, it's not gory, but it's like you see like the split second as the head is coming off, and as he's trying to stop the train, he couldn't, and he's trying to get Annie loose, but it's like he doesn't have the keys and can't break the doggone pole, so he decides to derail the train because the train's on like a unused railway. So it's like, dang, we got another speed, like a little short speed going on. I was like, this is speed all the way. We're still doing this stuff. So he speeds up and he holds Annie. It was like a very somber moment. It's like the movie is not, a high action packed kind of tone anymore. This is very somber. They don't know if they're, and even though I've seen this as a kid, I know they make it through. Rewatching it after so many years, and I'm seeing this moment, and like I'm putting myself, I'm imagining the people in the theater back in that day probably had like a, like a pit in their stomach in the moment where they seem like, oh my God, he's holding this woman. It's like he's choosing not to get off this train to save himself. Like he's staying with this woman because he doesn't know if she's gonna make it out of this entire thing alive. There's obviously no chance. He's taking a gamble of derailing the train. They'll still at least be alive at the end of it. But it's like a 50-50 shot clearly in his eyes. So he's holding her close, trying to just shield her as best as he can for the bulk of the damage, because at the very least, he want to make sure she lives. And it derails. They survive, but that was like an awesome, like little. It's like one of like another great moment, even though it's one of the less in like high impact kind of like moment as we've seen like earlier in the film. This moment still gives you that kind of like, this is a great feeling right now, but it's a somber feeling. It's weird. It's like a somber mood that still gets you engaged. And it's like I felt like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. It's like, this is like an awesome moment. Almost awesome performance by Keanu and Sandra Bullock in this moment. Just the way this is like, I'm holding you in your final moments, and I'm not going anywhere. And like, it derails. They survive. And they share a kiss and everything like that. And of course, this is one of the best movies, by far for that year, and for at least a good moment. At least until like maybe like within like a whole year's time up until 1995. But Speed 2 is well known to be one of the worst sequels to a great film. And Sandra Bullock is in there, and clearly, she's, Keanu Reeves is not in this one. She's like one of like the main stars, like, oh, we're at it again kind of situation. And they shouldn't have made like a sequel, but they had like, she clearly mentions, I vaguely remember, because I only see Speed 2 probably once. And like when I was little, because I figured, oh, it's the sequel to the original. I was, whatever. But see, clearly not with Jack anymore in that sequel. But it's like, no doubt. I mean, like, as I'm older now, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was like considered a thing back in the 90s. I'm pretty sure it has either been called something else. But the fact that two people fall in love with each other for like under high intense situations doesn't work out. She mentions that in this film. And the fact that clearly in the sequel obviously comes true. And it's like, as we know now better, psychology wise, it's kind of like Florence. It's almost similar to Florence Nightingale syndrome, based off like Florence Nightingale in history, or was it like a story? But basically, falling in love with the person you're caring for, kind of situation. And it's like no true feelings. You're just like in need of that person. Or at least in this case, a high test situation, like he went above and beyond for you, and you're just like adrenaline's pumping, and like, everything's like kind of, all kinds of feelings kind of rushing. So it's like, but yeah, don't think I ever gonna do like a Speed 2 movie reviews. No way. Like it's been a long time. I vaguely remember anything from that film, but I do recall it being bad. But I just cannot recall any scenes or anything like that. I just remember the bad feeling after all these years. I mean, unless like you guys had like a bunch of requests saying like, review Speed 2, let me hear your thoughts, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, if I get enough of that, I'll do it. But right now, I was like, there's no way I'm watching Speed 2. I remember the bad feeling, because it's like, oh God, it sucks. It's like a sucky all the way. But anyway, that is my review for Speed, the good one. The no, not like any other. It is another Speed, but the sequel. But this is consider this like one and done Speed film. Awesome all the way. Still holds up after all these doggone years. Oh my God, it's amazing coming back to this film. It's like a very a classic Keanu Reeves film. Highly recommended. It's on HBO Max. You can watch it anytime, and like watch it. If you haven't seen it in a long time, watch it. Come back. Tell me like how did it feel revisiting a film like that. Man, it's like I love it. But anyway, I'll see you. I'm gonna have 2 more Keanu Reeves films to do next week. Let's see what is. Cause I already did Johnny Mnemonic, so definitely check that out. But it'll be 47 Ronin and Devil. No, 47 Ronin and Constantine is the next Keanu Reeves films that I want to do next. So look forward to that. So, like I said, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Patreon. For the definitely show your support, give a shout out, and smash that like button, all that stuff. So, I will see you guys later. I'll be jumping onto some more. I'll play an hour of Halo Infinite first. Then I want to hop right back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So I will see you guys in a little bit. So take care. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon on live. Peace.